Thank you for joining us. Sorry for the technical glitch, but we're back now. Thank you for joining us on Let's Talk Well-being, Productivity, and Achievement of Dreams. Today, joining us is Yanick, all the way from Canada. Thank you for joining us, Yanick, and we really appreciate your patience with us this afternoon. Would you want to introduce yourself to our audience, what you do, your organization, and we told the people that you're a coach, confidence coach. Maybe you can just introduce yourself. Thank you for availing yourself. And for those who are watching us this afternoon, if you have any questions or comments that are relevant to what we're discussing, you can post them and I'll address them. Yes, I'll share with Yanick if she needs to respond this afternoon. Thank you so much. Over to you, Yanick.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. So my name is Yanick Said. I am in Canada. I live in Canada on the East Coast. I'm I like to say that I'm a confidence coach. I specialize in working with women who are in midlife, who feel that they have outgrown their lives or their career, feel stuck and are not sure what new direction they should take. So this is the work I do with the women, working on their mindset, their confidence, to help them, direct them to the path that's aligned with the woman they are right now. I'm also a public speaker and an author. So that's what I do.
Thank you. I understand in America it's Mother's Day.
Oh, not everywhere. In Canada, it's in May.
Oh, okay.
Each country is different. Yeah, my parents are from Haiti, and Mother's Day is in June there.
Oh, is it? So it's not like every I know, yes, in Africa it's in May. So I wanted to wish you Happy Mother's Day, but someone from the US just sent me a Happy Mother's Day. So when
thank you.
Happy Women's Month, Happy Women's Month, though it's still March. It's International Women's Month. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. What does being confident mean in the context of well-being, productivity, and achievement of dreams?
That's a very good question. Confidence, it's something that we have inside of us, but sometimes we don't tap into it, or the self-belief that we don't have it. So those are the circumstances that I see when I work with individuals. So the first thing is that, like I said, you realize that you have it. It's inside of you. To recognize it. Often we are our worst enemy. We don't see our value and the value that we have. We don't see that we have confidence. So number one, look into yourself and see, that you have confidence? It can be manifested differently because there's only one of us. We are individuals, and our confidence might manifest differently. So we are unique. So it's not about comparing yourself to others. Just see who you are, what you're confident in. It's a good exercise to do. And I'll share later on something that made me realize that, because I went through that journey myself. So confidence, like I said, we are unique. We have unique perspective. So we have a unique gift or a unique perspective or ideas that we can bring forth. It's about us, not comparing yourself. So that's very important. Your opinions. When you have your confidence, you are more apt in sharing your opinions. Because everybody has opinions. And if they don't tap into that confidence, they keep it to themselves. They are afraid to share their opinions. So when you have confidence, you're able to express yourself, even if you're an introvert. I am an introvert, believe it or not. But I will express my opinion when I want to contribute. And we talk about dreams. Dreams are our dreams because they are ours. If we did not have dreams, what would we aspire to? For example, great creations and invention and discoveries come from a dream. Steps that bring society, humanity forward come from a dream. So it's all tied together. So am I answering your question or am I confusing you?
No, you explained it very well. I was going to ask also that you spoke that when you are confident, you express your opinions. When do we draw the line? Sometimes when people express their opinions, they may end up being offensive sometimes. When do we draw a line on being confident and avoiding to offend others?
That's a very good question. You can be confident, but you also have to have respect for others. It comes together. When you offend, it's because it could be by accident, but if you have empathy, right? If you have empathy, you strive not to offend and you are cognizant of what impact what you're going to say has. So that's one thing. However, I will throw this, if you have arrogance, when you have arrogance, this is where the opinion can be offensive. Every one of us can say something and we realize right away that it was wrong and we will apologize, and minimize the impact. But when we are offensive and continue with that opinion, there's a sprinkle of arrogance that's included in it. Because if you have empathy and you don't have arrogance, you will recognize when you are offensive and mitigate that. So that having your opinion, you have to be cognizant of the impact that it will have. Because some opinions are sometimes better to keep to ourselves. If we know that we're going to create harm and that it's not going to benefit. If it's just going to be offensive, just for the sake of being offensive, that is something that should not be shared. We can say the hard truth. If it's the truth, sometimes it's hard and difficult to hear. But once people listen, they go, oh yeah, right? It's not offensive. It might be shocking, but it's a hard truth versus being offensive. There is a difference.
Okay. I was just wondering if something has to be shocking, then it might be beyond being offensive. But I get what you're saying. I think what you're communicating is confidence. It doesn't mean you have to be arrogant. You still have to be empathetic when in your confidence, as you express your opinions. When you're empathetic, you know when, how, and why you should express your opinions. In other words, you're considerate of how people are going to receive your opinions. Is confidence circumstantial? Like, can we say if you have had some certain challenges, you are a confident person, and we know at some stage everyone loses confidence because of life challenges. How can one also regain their confidence after they have lost it?
It happens to me once in a while. We do as human beings. You know, there are circumstances that make us question our ability to do something. So that's when the confidence kind of fizzle. One thing we have to remember, we are humans, so we're not superpowers, and it's okay not to be certain about doing something. It doesn't mean that you're not confident. It means that you're probably weighing the situation. Okay, the situation is such, you go, oh, well, that's different. Oh, it's challenging. And then you question yourself and how you're going to mitigate it, how you're going to navigate it. So that's when we might think we don't have confidence, but it's not really a lack of confidence. It's more not being sure how to handle the situation. I'll give you a quick example that I experienced, something simple. I was thinking in one of my many lives, I was in the Navy, and then we had a leadership training to get to the next one. And every time we were given a mission to lead. And I felt like I was not confident because every mission I was given was always harder than others or different, and always something I knew nothing about. Every single time, right? So my confidence was challenged, and I felt like I was not capable. And that's, looking back, I was just weighing the circumstances. One of the missions, all right? I don't know if you remember the show MASH, which was during the Korean War. They had that big field hospital in those huge tents. Well, one of my missions was to set up a huge tent like that with the equipment. I had never pitched a tent in my life before. So my confidence was rattled. I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to fail this mission. And then I shook it up and said, okay. You need to do this. You have intelligence. How can you manage that? So then I said, okay, I don't know how to pitch a tent. I know what else to do, but pitching the tent, I don't. Let's see who in my team knows how. And then somebody said, yeah, I do this all the time, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I told this person, all right, you'll be in charge of setting up the tent. That was where my confidence was broken because I didn't know how to pitch the tent to do the rest of the mission. And when I calmed down, I had to calm down my brain. Okay, I don't know, but there's people around me, I'm sure, who know how, and together we can make this happen. So the tent was about 100 feet long, maybe more, it was huge, was set up properly. Then I was able to do the rest, to delegate what equipment was going here and there, but I was getting stuck just because I didn't know how to pitch the tent, and my confidence was rattled. So that was my first big lesson. And this is what I apply. Because I still have moments when my confidence is rattled and I'm going, no. You've gone through challenges before in your life. Calm down. So what is it? What do you think is difficult? What resources are there to help you? Or did you ever experience something like that? And how did you deal with it and draw some ideas from that? Because even a confident person, life has circumstances that we have never faced before, and might take us by surprise. And we cannot just go straight, yeah, let's go do this. We are taken aback. And that's when our confidence is shaken. It's okay. What's important is to get over that, to get over the hump and not freeze. Because a lot of times we freeze.
I like the response because if I'm understanding you well, we don't lose our confidence. We just sometimes don't know how to navigate around the circumstances, and we'll need to ask for help. It's just like public speaking. You know, they say the nerves you feel before you go on the stage are normal, but doesn't mean that you're not confident. It just sometimes just the thought of thinking, what are people going to receive my message? Am I going to do well? It also affects your confidence, but it doesn't mean that you've lost it inside you. The confidence is there. You just need to probably also sometimes just remind yourself that you've got it, you can do it. And if I'm getting you also, you're encouraging us to look for help. Sometimes if you're in like example of tent making, you probably just needed to get help from other people, or maybe advice on how to do it. Then you do it, you add to what you already knew, or you learn from others, then you get back. So it's every circumstance differs, but the confidence is in there in us. We just need to look for help and to know that we can achieve much more when we do life with others. Thank you for that contribution. How does confidence affect our emotional intelligence?
Excuse me. Yes. When you have confidence, I talked about when we have confidence, it's inside of us. Also, we are more cognizant of what goes on around us, people, the impact of what we do and say. So if you have how being confident contributes to your emotional intelligence is that because you are that way, because you're cognizant, you are more aware of your filters. We all have filters. By having empathy, your response to interaction with others or what happens to you is different because your mindset is not in a state of finding faults or being responsive and not thinking things through. For example, on a personal level for yourself, if you have personal emotional intelligence, instead of saying, oh, I can't do it, I'm using something very simple. I can't do it. If you say this to yourself, versus if you change your mindset and using positive intelligence, you would say to yourself, this is a challenge I've never faced before, or this is a challenging situation, but I know I can do it because I've rose to challenges before. Versus saying, oh, I can't do it. When you have confidence, you draw from your experience, knowing that you can rise to a challenge. Now it's just a question, how are we going to deal with this particular one? Instead of putting a full stop saying and thinking, I can't do it. That's how it contributes to your emotional intelligence.
I hear you talking about mindset and telling yourself you can do it. How do affirmations help in boosting one's confidence? Those affirmations when you wake up and maybe stand in the mirror, before the mirror, and you tell yourself, I'm beautiful, I'm capable. How much do they contribute to one's confidence?
This is one of the exercises I do with my clients because you've known the subconscious mind, right? Subconscious mind absorbs what we say to ourselves. This is what wires our brain, our way of thinking. So it takes about 20 repetition, you have repetition, it becomes a habit. It's an integral part of how you wire your neurons in your brain. Therefore, and I'll use an example. I know two particular individuals, all right? This person is always saying the flaws that she perceives she has. that is an obstacle because she doesn't move forward. There's always this thing holding her back versus the other person I know who says, well, I know it's difficult. I've done this before. I can do this. I can manage my time. I am a go-getter. I'm not afraid of challenges. That's how she thinks. Not saying that she's not scared, but she's not afraid to have to deal with it. There's a difference versus the other one who say, oh, I can't do this, or it's too difficult. I don't think I can do that. I always fail. It makes a difference in how you handle situation. Also, it builds your mindset. So it's like exercising a muscle. If you're exercising and thinking negatively in shortcomings, well, this is what you're going to strengthen in your way of thinking, in your mindset. Versus if you flip it around and bring it to a positive light. And I'm not saying to think in rose-colored glasses. That's not what I'm saying. Is that to see a solution versus focusing on the obstacle. There's a difference. So when you think that way, that muscle, that mindset gets stronger. And I've seen, I don't know if you've seen, there was a video, a preschooler, a little kid, walking with his mother or his father. You cannot see the adult, they're filming. And he's saying, I am strong, I'm intelligent, I can do anything. And he's repeating it as he's walking. And the more the child is repeating it in that video, the stronger his voice sounds and louder, because he's wiring himself, he's convincing himself, believing it as he says it. It was beautiful to see. And I've noticed some parents do that with their children. As adults, we can do the same with ourselves. And you talked about going as a public speaker. I'm a speaker every single time I go. Before that, the anticipation, I have butterflies in my stomach. Doesn't matter how much I know about the topic. My background's in education, so I'm used to do it. But every time, before I hit the stage, I have the butterflies. But once I'm on the stage and I start talking, they're gone. I do my thing. You know, I was thinking, and now I find it's a different one. I'm thinking it's more how my message is going to be received. Not that I don't know what I'm doing. It's more, are they going to accept it? Am I going to have the impact I want? You know, so that comes from this position of confidence, because you want to see that you achieve something and don't want to fall short. So that's not a lack of confidence. It's more an observation and making sure you're going to do this because you know what you want to do. So to go back to what we were saying, if we exercise thinking negatively or seeing ourselves with less than, or seeing ourselves as having flaws versus I can do this, or I might have obstacles, but I can overcome them. I can do anything. You might have a difficult situation or make a mistake, but that's not the end of the world, because you know that you can deal with it. You can learn from it. So that's the different mindset versus if I make a mistake, this is over. Positive mindset, emotional intelligence. I made a mistake, fine. Okay, what can I learn from this? That's the difference.
I like the idea that you say when you make a mistake, you should ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Last week, one of my sons had a presentation, and I was telling him that when you go to present, always bear in mind that the people, the audience, don't know what you are going to say. So if you make a mistake, just continue because they don't know. But sometimes we in our minds we apologize to the audience, we show the audience that we've forgotten, but it's only you, the presenter, who knows what you were going to say next. So if you just continue, you present yourself as confident to the audience. So that also helps when you know that your audience wants you to succeed. They're there because they believe in what you're going to deliver. So that also helps with confidence. We have got a question from a viewer, Zara. She says, is imposter alert rooted in lack of confidence?
Could you repeat the question? I didn't hear it. Sorry.
Is imposter alert rooted in lack of confidence?
Imposter syndrome?
I should think so. But she's saying, is imposter alert rooted in lack of confidence?
It could be. It could be. And I think awareness of it is the difference. Once you are aware of something, once you imposters, and I get it sometimes, but my mindset is stronger now that I shake it off faster. We all get imposter syndrome at one time. However, people can, and I can look back a few years back before I had this metamorphosis in me. And this is what makes me, that's my passion in helping people. It would paralyze me, the imposter syndrome, although for whatever reason. And what I would say is that, you know what? Nobody's perfect. All I can do is the best I can do. Right? So you're not an imposter. We think we are because for whatever reason. But if you want to do something or you know of something, it's your right to do this. Oh, looks like we're froze. Oh. I don't know if you heard me. You froze for a moment.
I also missed it a bit. Maybe you can just repeat. You're talking about if you want to do something.
Well, when I first started, I'll share my experience. When I left my corporate job and got my certification, became a coach, and I was thinking, who am I to do this? Once in a while, that's imposter syndrome, and I think it stemmed more by comparing myself to others. I was kind of qualifying me compared to others. What I've learned is that no, there's only you. You know what you're doing. You know what you want to do. You know what you want to achieve. And what others think of you, their opinion is not of your concern. Do not get pulled down, bogged down by what you might think their opinion is or worried about their opinion. Just do your thing. You know what you're doing. You know why you're doing it. And don't worry about what others will think about you. And I think this is one of the things that holds us back a lot. I know, because it's happened to me. Once I let go of worrying about what are the others going to think? Or what if I don't do this right? No, I'm just going to do it, do the best I can, and that's it. Definitely not worrying about others. I would worry about hurting others, of course, but their opinion of me? No. That holds us back, and sometimes it keeps us prisoners. And it comes sometimes the opinion of what a family, I know for me, what the elders would think because of their expectations from me. And then later on, or colleagues. And I went, you know what? I'm doing my thing. And they don't have to agree with me. I will not seek to hurt anybody, but it's okay to disagree with me. I will do my thing. Once I let go of that, it was quite liberating. And definitely that imposter got quieter and quieter. I don't say it's going away. It's always creeping in a backstage. All right? Because we judge ourselves. And that's why the imposter is almost a supporting actor, helping the judging we have with ourselves. So having a positive mindset is very important. Saying positive affirmation to wire your brain that way helps to quiet down the imposter, because it will always try to come and sabotage you. Right? So you be cognizant of it. And I'm saying the more you do that, the quieter the imposter will be. And when the imposter comes, you'll be quicker in recognizing it and deal with it. Because it'll always be there. It's still there for me. When I recognize it quickly and I say, quiet, I know how to shut it down very quickly before it affects me.
Thank you very much for that response. I'm sure she has heard that as much as we want to be accepted by people, as long as our motive is right, we must do whatever we want to do, and not everyone has to agree with us. I've heard that if you have a vision, not everyone sees what you see. So, like you're talking about being a coach and you were worried about what people would say. And sometimes that's what affects us when we have an imposter. We're thinking that everyone sees what maybe we see. But if you have a vision and everyone can understand your vision, then maybe the vision is not big enough. Sometimes we just have to jump in and do what we are supposed to do. And we learn as we go along, because as we mentioned, we don't have the full picture of even our vision, even of what we want to do. Even when you started being a coach, you didn't have a full picture. You didn't know today, 15 March, you'll be sitting and talking to me. So we have to do what we need to do, and we learn and we grow. And that way it also helps us grow our confidence, because confidence develops or grows the more we do whatever we're doing and we're achieving results. It helps us to grow and develop our confidence. And on that note, I also wanted to ask, are confident people more productive? And like in the workplace or business, can we say that those people are confident, are more confident, are more productive? And how can organizations encourage teams to be more confident? You mentioned that before you became a coach, you were in the corporate.
I like that question because that's one of the reasons I'm a coach too. You know, we talked about that. I want to say, knowing you why is what built even more my confidence as a coach. I knew why I was doing what I was doing. So to answer your question, in an organization, if you have confident individuals who are part of it, they are more inclined in contributing into how things are being done, how to improve things in the organization, and they're result oriented. So they're confident in sharing their opinion or their knowledge or their skills. But also, you say, how does an organization can tap into this? I've seen both sides. Sometimes organizations have very confident people working in it, but they do not give them the opportunity to exercise it. They actually try to make them fit in the mold or not hear them. You know, the contribution of the individual is not appreciated. And sometimes, depending on management, is frowned upon because it comes from a place of discomfort. They're not comfortable to see somebody who might have more confidence than that. Comes from insecurities. So when you have a workplace that is like that, after a while, the confident person is discouraged and not contributing as much. They're just going through the motion. And you might lose them. Versus organization, and I've worked in a few who were like that too, where the individual's confidence, the contribution to the company, the organization is appreciated. The employee, the individuals sense that they are being heard, even if their idea is not being used necessarily, but they know they have the opportunity to be heard. When you are in an environment like that, you keep the motivation up, and the individuals are more apt to want to contribute versus in an environment where they're not really heard or they're shut down. After a while, the individuals go, well, what's the point? You know, they do the minimal. They just go through the motion. And at one point, there is the law of diminishing result. If they are not motivated, they're not as productive as they could be. They might do the task or whatever, but they're not motivated. So they're not as productive as they could be themselves. You know, the confidence is not tapped into. So the motivation is depleting. But if a confident person is in an environment where they can explore it and tap into it, oh, they're definitely more productive because they're motivated and they feel that they are that they're worth it, that the organization sees their value. So it's a domino effect. And the same can be said for the negative. You know, the individuals lose motivation, they're confident, but they're thinking, what's the point? And they find themselves doing, well, what's required? Motivation fades, and often you lose the individuals because they feel like they're not worth it, they're not appreciated, and they're not heard. So.
On the same note of people not appreciating confident people, sometimes what makes people not appreciate confident people is when they perceive them to be overconfident or too forward. How do you differentiate being confident and being too forward or overconfident?
Okay, so when you say, I just wanted to say, because I'm not sure, you know, how could you be too confident? How could you be more too confident? Is it because you're coming from a place of arrogance? There's a difference.
I think in this case, it's more of how the people are receiving you, are perceiving you. Because
okay, so, oh yeah, I've experienced that. If you're confident and you expect, okay, let's say you have an idea, you're confident, you want to share with the team or whatever, and some CEO, oh, she's too confident, she's pushy. Why? Are you really pushy, or are they uncomfortable because you're bringing something they didn't think about? So that's what I'm saying. That's why I was asking the question. If people perceive you as being overconfident, I don't think there's such thing as overconfident. You're confident, maybe very confident, but overconfident It's a question of perspective. That's what they perceive.
Mm.
And often, especially for women, when we show our confidence, those are the adjectives that are used. She's overconfident and she's pushy and she's aggressive. No, she's confident.
Mm. Yeah, no,
It's the
no,
it's the other party's perception. It's not you.
yes.
So you cannot control somebody else's perception. Be you. As long as you're not out to hurt intentionally, just be you. That is that perception, and there's nothing you can do to change it. They are the one who can change that perception. If they're open and they ask questions, you can explain. But if they perceive you as overconfident, well, that's their issue. It's a them issue. And it could be if it's an environment where you are made feel that way, maybe it's a sign that it's not aligned with you and you need a different environment.
Mm.
One should not change who they are to comply.
Mm.
It just means you're not aligned. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just not the right environment.
I hear you. Yes, I think I agree with you. Sometimes we need to know the people we're dealing with, because normally when people feel threatened, that's when they think someone is overconfident and they want to bring you down to their level. So if you feel that way, it's better to change the environment if maybe it's possible, because sometimes it's not that easy to change environments. And when people want to silence you, it can actually it can paralyze you if you're not careful. But I guess when you mentioned about mindset, if you know who you are, you can still manage your confidence without being paralyzed by people's perceptions. And as you mentioned, you cannot change people's perceptions. The only perception you can change is your perception about yourself. Can someone be shy and confident?
I'm shy. Believe it or not, I learned to, sometimes I say I learned to be in character. Okay, I'm shy, but when it comes to deal with a situation, a mission, or a task for the organization, or do my work, I've become stronger and stronger. I am shy, but I've overcome the shyness. But my default, I'm shy introvert. Interestingly enough, most people who don't really know me think I'm an extrovert. I am not. I just learned to cope and work in that environment. I had my Myers-Briggs evaluation done. I'm also certified to give the tool, and I came out as an introvert. So when we did this in the group, people say, "You an introvert?" I said, "Yes, I'm a closet introvert. I am an introvert, but I learned to work, to overcome that. But at the end of the day, I'm tired. I have to have my space. I need to not people for a while, but I learned to cope with it. So I accepted that. And talking, when I was a child, my parents would say, "Oh, so and so said, come go say hi." And I didn't want to go say hi, but I was forced to. No, "Oh, come and sing." So and so said, "Oh, why don't you show your dance?" Because I did ballet. So I was okay in the group of the other ballerinas, but don't ask me to do this, if my auntie's coming, but they made me do it. When I was shy, I didn't want to, but I was made to do it. But my default is like, I was okay to sit quietly in the living room and listen and talk when I wanted to talk. So that's what I'm saying. You can be shy. I was confident. I was not afraid. It's just, I wanted it on my terms when I wanted to do it. So, yes, you can be shy. It doesn't mean you're not confident. And it's not because you're extroverted that you're confident either. People
Oh,
assume.
so you can be an extrovert and not confident.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And that because you're an extrovert, but if you are not confident, you kind of project it even more, your extroversion, to compensate for your perceived lack of confidence, because confidence is internal, right? It's internal. So if the person has insecurities, they will be even more out there, louder and looking, look at this person. But really inside, they're not feeling that way.
I like I like when you mention that confidence is internal. So it doesn't mean if you're an introvert, if you are shy, you don't have confidence. And it also doesn't mean that if someone is an extrovert, they're necessarily confident. Is there a relationship between being a courageous person and being confident?
A courageous person, the confidence and courage are two things. The courage, when we talk about courage, okay, first, confidence is knowing you, self, and that you can do something. That's your confidence, that's internal. Courage is something else. Courage is to do something even though it's scary. That's courage. You can be confident and you see a difficult situation or dangerous situation, for example, leaping over a big hole or something like that. You're confident, but you go, I could get hurt. I am not doing it. It's not because you're not confident, you just choose not to. Courage is that, oh, this is dangerous, but I will do it anyway. That's what courage is. It's you're doing something, even though we know it's dangerous, we do it anyway. For example, I'll give you an example. If a house is burning, you can be confident. You're a confident person. It doesn't mean that you're going to go run in the house and take people out. That's courage. There's a difference. Because I might get killed going in there, right? I'll let the firefighters do it. You're confident, but this is not my wheelhouse. I won't do it because it's dangerous. A courageous person would go, I know it's dangerous. The firefighters are not here, but I'm doing it anyway. That's what courage is.
I like the explanation, and when you mention that courage is doing the dangerous things, the people who have seen their children drowning and they don't know how to swim, they jump in, maybe because they are courageous, then they probably sometimes, unfortunately, they end up dying because they've made a decision. So one needs to decide when to be courageous and when to be confident, because you can die in the process when you're trying to help. So know your capacity. Don't do things beyond your capacity because you think you're confident and you are just wanting to be courageous, where the courage is not applicable. I like that. As an adult,
I'd like to share my experience, something real. I'll share my courage. It's nothing like I'm going to die, but it was courageous. For example, I had a position in the federal government, but it was not permanent. It was by contract, 1-year contract, but they put a freeze for 3 years. They froze the conversion from contract to permanent for 3 years. And then I was put at halftime. Then I was offered an assignment program that would help me get new skills and experience to advance my career, but it was only for 1 year. And I had no guarantee that my job would be there for me. And after that assignment, there was no guarantee I would get a position, right? I did it anyway. That's courage. It would have been safer to stay in my job that would be contract for another 3 years before it became permanent. But I took a chance. I left that behind to take the assignment to be able to get new experience and skills to eventually get a higher position, to progress in my career. So that's courage. Another example is that my marriage broke down, but I stayed because of the children, and also I did not have a permanent position. I still did not have a permanent position, but I knew staying would have a very negative impact on my children and me. So I left. I had no family where I am, no friends, but I took that chance. So that was courage because I was alone. I had no support. I did not have a permanent position, but I did it anyway. You see the word anyway. I had no guarantee of income after 3 months because I didn't know if the contract was going to be renewed because of the budget cut. So I did it anyway. That's courage.
I like your example. Maybe there's a woman watching us and she's going through the same situation. A marriage is broken down and she doesn't have income. Maybe she doesn't have courage to walk away like you did. How did you survive that period when you didn't have income and you left your children, or maybe you took them with? How did you survive? What made you go through that season? Maybe financially, emotionally, and yes.
Because I said, staying here would cause more damage than leaving with my children and maybe lose my income. I said, there's options. I can tutor on the side. There's things I can do, maybe not paying the same, but I can find other ways to make money if I lose my job. And I said, this situation is such that the risk of losing income, the risk of not knowing was worth not staying in this bad situation. It was scary, don't get me wrong. I had nightmares. I couldn't sleep. My stomach was churning. But when I made the decision and I left, I was able to breathe. The noise was quiet in my head because I was more in control. I wasn't sure what was going to happen in 3 months, but at least I had gotten rid of the noise so I could focus in on, okay, if it's not renewed, what are my options? What can I do to bring money? And that's what I focused on. Not, oh my gosh, I can't do it. No, I focused, okay, if this happens and it's not renewed, what are the options? Where can I get little jobs here and there? And I found options to generate money. Maybe not as much, but it was a start. Like I knew it was not the end of the world once I left. But when I made the decision to leave, is that I could no longer stay there. I had to change. To change was to leave. I had no security, no safety net, but I did it anyway. Once I did it, yeah.
And when you look back now, how do you, when you look at yourself, did you grow from that period when you took a courageous decision, or maybe you still have regrets?
The regret I have is not leaving sooner.
Oh, okay. You thought if you had left sooner, it would
Yeah,
have
so when I left, no, I did not have any regret that I left. Because no, it was difficult at first, but I got back on my feet and I was okay, right? But I reached a point I was hard on myself because I said, oh, I should have done this before. See, I left anyway, and look, everything was okay. Excuse me. And I stayed because I did not have a permanent job. So I felt bad for staying longer than I needed to stay. So that's the regret I have. But you talk about growth, definitely was growth because I've learned not to stay comfortable in my discomfort. You know, to recognize when the situation is not aligned or whatever. And staying in it will never change the outcome. It will never change the outcome. So have the courage to take the next step. And I go, and I've done it several times after that. I'm going, you know, I've done it once. I can do it again. That was my growth. This was the worst scenario. No family, no friends because I was isolated, no support, no permanent job. That's a perfect storm for failure. But I did it anyway. So that was my lesson. I've gone through all of this. Nothing phases me like that. When something, and I've had big challenge come after that. But I always say, you know what? You've gone through all of this before. You can do this again. That's my growth.
I hope women listening to us who are stuck and who are feeling they cannot face tomorrow, they cannot live maybe abusive relationships, maybe relationships that they're desperate because they don't have a permanent job, they don't have resources. They've been encouraged that no problem is permanent. It may be scary at that point to move on, but I liked your statement that says, do not stay comfortable in your discomfort. Sometimes we need to stretch ourselves and face the unseen and grow in it. Because that's what I'm getting, that you grew in it. And look at you now, you're a coach. Maybe if you had not gone through the discomfort, you would not have found yourself and now where you are, where you're coaching other women and helping them to find themselves. Sylvia Plath states that the worst enemy of creativity is self-doubt. As a confident coach, what would you say to someone who has a great business idea, but they're afraid to execute it?
First, I would say, excuse me, creativity is what made invention possible. If people were not creative, and if you look at all the inventors in the world, every time they came up with their ideas, people would say, oh, this is great. They'd say, you crazy. It's not going to work. A lot of them face ridicule, being insulted, people not believing in their ideas. So I would say, remember that. It's your idea. Go for it. Because it's nobody else's idea, it's yours. And if you don't try it, how will you know what you will deprive yourself or the world of if you don't do it? And if it doesn't work, it's okay. Learn from that. How can you make it better, or how can you fix it? But to not do it, to have your self-doubt, well, you won't know until you do it. You doubt yourself? Okay, do it and see what the outcome is. Because if you let self-doubt control you, well, like you say, it paralyzes you and you don't know what you're missing out. You don't know what this will produce. You don't know what it will give you or the world. So you owe it to yourself.
I like that. Just do it. I think that has been the main message from our conversation. If people forget everything that we have said, they must remember that just do it. Whether you're afraid, whether you're in self-doubt, whether you're shy, just do it. If you have a great idea, just pursue it. You learn as you go along. And it's okay to fail as long as you fail forward and you rise up and grow. Eleanor Roosevelt says, you gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you stop to look fear in the face. You must do the thing you think you cannot do. I think that's what we've just been talking about, where if you have an idea or if you have something that you think you cannot do. You mentioned earlier that if you have an area that you find difficult, self-talk also helps, and affirmations where you keep on reminding yourself that you can do it. If you want to be maybe an author, and you think you're not good at your grammar, tell yourself that your grammar is good. You tell yourself you're a great author, and before you know it, you'll have written a book. If you look in the mirror and you think that your looks are limiting you, wake up, love yourself, look the woman in the mirror and remind her that she's beautiful. If it's maybe you think you're not getting married because you're not good enough, stand in the mirror, tell yourself that there's a man out there looking out for you because you're beautiful in his eyes. So I'm just giving examples of affirmations. But the question I wanted to ask is, in entrepreneurship, how important is confidence in success of building one's business?
Yes, and I will piggyback on what you just said. Excuse me, we talk about self-doubt, and that comes into entrepreneurship as well. But you have to remember when anything's created, how many times, how many trials, lab trials or clinical trials, or the Wright brothers, how many times did they fail before they were able to fly? Or when something is created, a car, well, how many prototypes were created? It was not at the first try, but they didn't give up. They tried and failed again until they were successful. So we're talking about confidence for an entrepreneur is everything we've talked about. And being an entrepreneur, it's even more difficult because you're it. So you have to believe one thing, the confidence is to know why you want to do this. What is your why? So that is raison d'être, to remember. It's like keeping your eye on the goal, on the prize. Why is it that you do this? If you have failure, all right, what can I learn from it? Also, to also know that you don't know everything. So know where your weaknesses are. And that's confidence. It's to admit, okay, for example, I'm not good in finance. I will need to get some help because this is going to hold me back. Confidence is admitting when we make a mistake. When you're confident, you're okay to admit a mistake because you learn from it. Versus if you just shy away, back off, it's a lack of confidence. Okay, that didn't work. Why didn't it work? Is it the right thing for me to do? How can I rejig it? How can I tweak it? Or maybe I need to change direction. That's confidence. You don't give up. You see where the shortcomings were and how to remedy them as an entrepreneur. Yeah. And if it's because the business is not, for example, you don't like that anymore, admit that. Maybe it's a different entrepreneurship that you need to explore. And that's okay to admit, you know what? This is not for me, but this particular field is better for me. So I'm going to do this instead. Right? It's to know.
Thank you so much for availing yourself. We really appreciate you sparing some time on a Sunday. I understand today is still in the morning. And thank you so much. Where can our audience find you if they want maybe to connect you with you as a confidence coach? And what would be your closing remarks?
Where you can find me, I don't know, I can put this in the chat, but my name is Yanick Seide, Yanick Seide. So you can find me on Facebook and LinkedIn under my name, and on Instagram, hashtag at Yanick Seide in one word. And my email is with my company's name, Chrysalis. So you would say Yanick at Chrysalis Woman Empowerment.ca. That's just how you can reach me. And I don't know if anybody has, I will put the information in the chat.
Okay, that would be great. So if you want to follow Yanick, you follow her on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and
Facebook.
I'll also
I'm on
check
Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram.
and Instagram. Yes, I'll also post the links that you've posted there on the Facebook page. What would be your concluding remarks?
What my closing remarks is okay. You mentioned it. Love yourself, because there's only one of you. You are unique with all the qualities, your gifts, they're yours. Embrace them, acknowledge them, because your gifts is what you have to offer the world, and only you can do that. Do not judge yourself by comparing yourself to others or opinions of others. Those are irrelevant. Know your worth. You are worth it. You are beautiful. And there's only one of you. And you are enough.
Thank you so much. You are enough. We conclude with that. And for everyone who has joined us this afternoon, you are enough. Whatever situation you're going through, when you feel self-doubt, when you feel you're not confident enough, just remember that Yanick encouraged us this afternoon that you're good enough, you're enough, and just do it. Thank you once again for joining us. If you want to check our services, we're also doing coaching for those who want help for personal development coaching. And if you are in an abusive relationship, emotional, physical, financial, and all the abuse, harassment, bullying, at work or at home, and you want coaching, you can also get hold of us. Our website is www.tafazamazibukospeaks.co.za. You can also get our books on Amazon, and you can get hold of us. Thank you so much, and have a productive week. Remember, you are enough, and just do it. Thank you, Yanick.